the music going to hurt anything? Okay. I'm having Jeannie turn on the camera here again for just a minute. I've been working on this for about 10 minutes. What I've done is it's just sort of the next evolution, the next step in the process of painting. It's very similar to what we've been doing before, where I'm continually identifying the important bits. So I've just been working on this forehead. I've really tried to define, not necessarily finished, but define this line where this hat fits the forehead. And you know, it's not just a perfect round thing in my paintings. I'm trying to get all the little bumps, and you know, my forehead's got bumps in it. You know, I don't know. So I put those in there because all of those things are, like we were saying before, they're part of observing closely what you're looking at. And so my hair is a little bit different than it was before. It's sort of close. That's why I'm not doing any of the hair bits very accurately, because I know every time I sit down here my hair is a little bit differently. So that's waits till the end. But I do get the important bits. So I've added a little bit of white in here and on this side, and I've begun to get the shadows and the highlights on each side, identifying them. Now I've got some important shadows which I'm going to put in here. And I got a good wrinkle and right in here, which I'm going to deal with, and right here. But I wanted to take it just a little bit farther for you. I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on it again and take it a little even farther during this session, just so you can see where it's developing and how I'm developing it at this point. I'm really concentrating now, not necessarily on finishing the forehead, but getting it really close. Because as I get it close, the likeness and the end result becomes clearer to me. So we can finish that there. I'm going to go back to work a little bit more here. Okay.
I'm going to leave it running for a minute.
Again, you know, I'm using turpentine and medium, but mainly it's just paint that I'm putting on here, pure color, not worrying about medium too much at all. Again, I notice that every time I do a self-portrait, these little wrinkles get a little bit more pronounced. Not at all happy about that, by the way. But I'm putting them in there because they're there. You know, I hope that you understand that the purpose of this painting lesson here is not to teach you how to paint like me. What it is, like anyone would teach you, is we're sort of showing you a way to learn some of the technical aspects to producing a piece of art. But the technical aspects are not what's important. Remember, it's not. What it'll do is it'll allow you to have a weapon, so to speak, in the preparation of your work, or your approach to your art. You know, it's not how we paint as much as what we paint, you know. Okay. That's good. We're going to turn this off right now, and I'm going to go back to work. Okay, so before I get too far ahead of you, I'm painting this forehead. Now, when I'm going into this process, I know that painting this forehead, I've done areas like this that have taken me all day to establish the right color values. Here I've got it fairly quickly, but I'm finding that I want to really get a little bit more refined in this process, because it seems sometimes it goes slow, sometimes it goes fast. Today it's going pretty fast. Um, so I put on my basic colors. I've made a few identifying changes, things which are important. Some highlights, some wrinkles. I went back down here real quick and I widened my mustache, and I put on some white paint right in here to identify where this goatee is going to be. But I didn't do it too seriously in case I decide I want to shave this off tomorrow, you know. So you got to be a little careful about that sort of thing. But I am going back here and just so that you can see exactly how I'm doing it. I'm going to paint a little bit up in here. You can just watch it for a minute. Now I had the little bit bigger brush, that ruby satin round. Now I've gone to my little brush here, just because I'm sculpting it a little bit more now, and so I wanted you to see just a little bit about how I do this and the stroke that I use. You can see I use a very rapid little stroke, which is comfortable for me. Generally the stroke goes in the same direction, and I'll move around on this forehead. I won't just work one area to death. I'll move around on it. And I have this angled so that I continually move my eyes back and forth to the mirror, and that's how I see things. When I want to really concentrate on a particular thing, then I'll stop and I'll look very carefully. But what I'm doing is I'm just putting it in my memory banks, and just glancing back and forth out through my peripheral vision for the rest of it. But I guess if you could say I was blending, this is how I blend, with very quick, rapid strokes, and I add new colors as I feel I need them. I'm not using really any medium at all right now. It's just mainly just the color that I've mixed on the palette in front of you, and I'm using those to draw with. You know, I said at one point that I considered myself more of a draftsman with color, rather than a painter. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of the painters who paints with big, broad strokes. There was a time when I did that, but I found that this approach is more appealing to me, and so this is how I am painting at the moment. So I hope that you're able to see generally how I'm doing this. You notice I'm not continually going back and forth to the palette at this point. I'm working the color. You know, I'm moving the color around. The color that I have on there, I'm working it around a little bit. It's like working a piece of clay. I'm modeling it, you know, but I'm modeling it with very quick, rapid strokes, as opposed to using a blending tool or a soft sable brush or something. I don't do that.